Before we start with our class, let us discuss the answers for the previous home assignment. First main, fill in the blanks. First one, materials which can be compressed, scratched easily are called soft materials. Second one, some metals appear dull due to the action of air and moisture. Third one, we choose a material to make an object depending on its properties. Fourth one, iron and wood cannot be compressed, so they are called hard materials. Second main, make a list of soft and hard materials. You can make two columns. First column soft materials, second column hard materials, and you can write as many examples as you know. For soft materials, you can give examples of the cushions, mattress, sponge, cotton, etc. For hard materials, you can give as many examples from your own stationery also, such as a scale, pen, pencil, pencil box, lunch box, spoon, key, etc. This was an easy assignment. I hope all of you are able to do this. Before we proceed with the lesson, let us recapitulate what we learned in our previous class. What is sorting? Sorting means grouping or classifying. Why is sorting necessary? Sorting is necessary because it makes our task easy. It is easy to locate things. For example, in our kitchen, we group all glassware in a rack. The plastic containers are lined up in another rack. Similar shaped plates or bowls are stacked together, so it is easy for us to locate. So grouping can be done based on the shape of the object or the materials they are made from. For example, plastic, glass, steel, etc. Sorting can be done based on the properties of materials too. Different materials have different properties. The different properties of materials are appearance, hardness, soluble and insoluble, float or sink, and transparency. In the previous class, we learnt two properties of material, that is appearance and hardness. Now let us continue to learn the different properties of materials. Let us continue with our lesson, sorting of materials into groups, and learn the different properties of materials. Children, we are all at home, and I am sure some of you would have tried a hand at preparing some dishes or preparing some juices, isn't it? Simple ones. Yes, you would have definitely done that. Have you ever tried preparing a lemonade? Lemonade is nothing but lemon juice. So what are the ingredients you require for preparing a lemonade? So first of all, we need a lemon. We need some water, sugar, and a pinch of salt. So we add the lemon juice, the sugar, and the pinch of salt to water and stir it, and our lemonade or lemon juice is ready. But have you observed what happens to the lemon juice when it is added to water? or when sugar is added to water? Yes, it gets dissolved completely. Lemon juice is a liquid, while sugar and salt are solids. So, does it mean that all solids and liquids dissolve in water? Let us find out.
Hello everyone, we'll do some exploration today. Let's conduct an activity. We'll need following materials: salt, glass, or a transparent container, water, a spoon, etc. What we have to do is that fill a glass about 2/3 with water. Add a small amount, a spoonful of salt to the container. Stir the content with a spoon. Wait for a few minutes. And then we have to observe what happens to the salt added to water. So you can conduct this experiment and see what happens, or you can see this video. In this video we have two glasses. In one glass we are going to add salt, and in another glass we are not going to add anything. So here we are adding a spoonful of salt in this glass, and then we have to stir it, and we have to leave it for few minutes. If we see after few minutes, we will see that the salt has disappeared. Salt has dissolved in water. We can't see the salt anymore in water. You can see here. Okay, so this is the observation for salt in water. This is the normal water and this is salt water. We can see that salt disappears completely in water, or salt dissolves in water, and we can't see the salt anymore. Now, we have done one exploration, but can we do more explorations? Can we change something in our earlier exploration to generate new explorations? What can we change in the earlier exploration? If you are finding it difficult to think about it, I can give you a help, but before that, let's spend few minutes thinking about it. Yeah. So whenever we find difficult to generate new exploration, what we can do is that we can give the description of what we did. And in this case, the description is we added a spoonful of salt in a glass 2/3 filled with water and stirred it, right? So that is what we did. Now, to generate new exploration, or what we have to do is that we have to change something. Now, what to change, that we can see from the description, right? We already have the description for the activity. Let me make it easy for you. And here, easy is not EASY, it is EISY. So it stands for English in Science for Your Exploration. Don't worry, it is not very difficult, right? So what you have to do is that you just have to identify what are the nouns, verbs, and adjectives in the description of this exploration. Just identify. Yeah, so as many of you would be identifying that nouns are like salt, water, glass, verbs, stirring is a verb, then adjective, a spoonful or 2/3. So all these are the nouns, verbs, and adjectives used in the description. And we have identified by using this tool, easy tool, right? Now, at this point, pause the video, think about it. How can we change these words which we used, noun, verbs, and adjectives, to generate new exploration? You write down this in your notebook, and once you are ready, you can resume the video. So we were exploring this thing, that what can we change in the earlier exploration? And we gave the description that we added something, in this case salt, in water, right? So what can we replace salt with? We can replace the salt with many other things like sugar, mustard seeds, turmeric powder, beaten rice, avlaki, which is called pepper, stone, etc. Right? Then we talked about the water. So water can be replaced with any other liquid like oil, etc. Then we talked about the verb. So we stirred it, right? So if we don't stir, what will happen? That is another exploration which can be done. And then we talked about the adjectives, in this case, a spoonful, right? So if we change the quantity of salt or water, what will happen? So these are the further explorations which we can do by changing some of these things. So, so we did with salt. Let's repeat the same earlier procedure with adding different substances in water. Note down your observation as shown in the table. So here we have the list of substances, and here, before you do it, please guess, predict what will happen, right? So in the case of salt, let's say the guess was it will disappear in water. And after doing it, we can observe that yes, it really disappears completely in water. For example, another guess can be for mustard seeds that does not disappear. You can conduct and see whether the guess is right or wrong. Or in case of turmeric powder disappears in water. Again, you can conduct an experiment and see whether the guess matches with the observation or it doesn't match. So all these explorations you can do at home. Now, so basically we discussed about two kind of substances. One is soluble, another one is insoluble. So soluble, some substances when added to water and stirred completely disappears or dissolve in water. We say that these substances are soluble in water. But there are some other substances which do not mix with water and do not disappear even after we stir for a long time. These substances are insoluble in water. For example, mustard seeds in this case. And salt has disappeared. So salt is soluble substance in water and mustard seeds are insoluble substances in water. Now at this point, let's generate your own questions. Now the question is that how to generate, right? So again, I am giving you this description of what we did. We added a spoonful of salt, which is a solid, in a glass 2/3 filled with water and stirred it. So that is what we did. Now think about this description and see whether you can generate few more questions which you can explore by yourself. If you are finding difficult to think about it, again, use our own tool of easy, right? Think that what can you change in that description to generate new explorations. For example, here we have the word solid. Can you think of something to change and see whether you can generate new explorations? So this easy tool is very handy to generate new explorations. We just have to change a couple of these words to generate new explorations. So again, at this point, pause the video, write down what are the new questions you are able to generate. And once you are ready, resume the video. So many of you might have thought about different questions, and some of the questions you might have thought about that, do liquids also dissolve in water? Earlier we dissolved a salt, right, which is a solid. Now the question is that, do liquids also dissolve in water? Can we dissolve any solid or liquid in other than water? Like in place of using water, can we use any other liquid? And can we add salt in that to see whether it dissolves or not? Can gases also dissolve in liquids? So all these are the possible questions you might have thought about. Now let's explore a few of these questions. So the first question is that, do liquids also dissolve in water? Now to understand that, we have to think about what are the liquids we have at home. We have vinegar, cooking oil, hair oil, liquid sanitizer, nail polish remover. All these are the liquids, right? You can think of your own example also. Now what we have to do is that we have to take a glass tumbler, fill it up to half with water, add a few spoonful of one liquid to this and stir it well, and let it strain for 5 minutes. And then we can observe that whether the liquid mixes with water or not. So let's see this video. You can stop here and do it by yourself also. So here we have 2 glasses. And in one glass, we are going to add a spoonful of oil. So you can see that oil is getting mixed with water. And then we are going to add vinegar in another glass. Again, we will add couple of spoons of vinegar in another glass. So we added some vinegar in another glass. Now, what we are going to do is that we are going to stir these liquids. So we have stirred this mixture and we have also stirred this mixture. Now we are going to leave it for a few minutes, let's say 5 minutes, and we'll observe what happens after 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, we can see that oil has formed a separate layer above liquid, right? And in case of vinegar, we don't see any separate layer of vinegar. So it completely got mixed with water. But in case of oil, it didn't get mixed with water. It formed a separate layer above water. Now, so we were exploring that do liquids also dissolve in water? Now you can conduct the same experiment with another set of liquids. So we have tried with vinegar. We guessed that it will not mix, but it mixed well. So sometimes the observation may be very different than what we have guessed. So it may change, but it is important to guess so that we know that whether our observations matches with the guess or not. Also, we tried with the cooking oil and we guessed that it will not mix and it didn't mix. You can try with other liquids which you have at home, like hair oil, liquid sanitizer, nail polish remover, or anything of your choice, right? Now, here we ask this question that do liquids also dissolve in water? And the answer is that some liquids get completely mixed with water, like vinegar, and some others do not mix with water and form a separate layer when kept aside for some time. For example, oil. So some liquids dissolve in water, like they are soluble in water, and some liquids are not soluble in water. Now, at this point, what are the further questions do we have? As we discussed, can we dissolve any solid or liquid in other than water? So what can be the case? Think about it. Does salt dissolve in oil if left unstirred? So if we have a salt and if we add in oil, will it dissolve? Think about it. Just predict. Yeah, we are not going to conduct this here, but you can conduct and explore whether it dissolves or not in oil. Another question was that can gases also dissolve in liquids, right? So for this, you can observe an ice cube carefully and put that ice cube in a glass of water and observe what happens. Probably this observation might help you answering this question. Now, what are the takeaways? We discussed about two kinds of substances, soluble and insoluble. Some substances, when added to water and stirred, completely disappears or dissolve in water. We say that these substances are soluble in water. There are another set of substances which do not mix with water and do not disappear even after we stir for a long time. These substances are insoluble in water. And we also learned very important skill that how to change the exploration, like what changes should we make to exploration to generate new explorations. And we use this tool of easy tool, English in Science for your exploration. It is very easy tool to use. Basically, we have to identify nouns, verbs, and adjectives in the description of current exploration and change these words to generate new explorations. Then we also learned that making a guess before doing an exploration is very important so that we can see whether it matches with our observation or not. And we also generated many of our own questions. Now, what are the further home explorations you can do it? Can we dissolve any solid or liquid in other than water? So we discussed about it. For example, does salt dissolve in oil if left unstirred? So you can do that further home exploration and see whether it dissolves or not. Also, we discussed about can gases also dissolve in liquids, and we discussed that we can observe the ice carefully and put it in the glass of water and observe what happens and see whether you get an answer for that question or not. So that is another home exploration you can do it. or any of your own home exploration which you made during change in exploration exercise, right? We try to change some of those words, noun, verb, adjective, to generate new exploration. Any of that exploration also you can do at home. Thanks. Happy exploring.
Substances which dissolve in water are called soluble substances. Example: salt, sugar, vinegar, etc. Given below is a table which shows substances which dissolve in water and those which do not dissolve in water. Let us see the first one: solid. Salt, sugar, baking soda, they all dissolve in water. Sand, sawdust, chalk dust, they do not dissolve in water. You can also try dissolving materials or solids such as mustard seeds, turmeric powder, flattened rice, also called as avlaki or poha, stones, pieces, etc. You can note down your observation in a table. To explore further, you can use other liquids instead of water. The liquids which dissolve in water are vinegar, lemon juice, and those which do not dissolve in water are oils. For example, coconut oil, kerosene, sunflower oil, etc. Gases. Some gases are found dissolved in water. Can you guess which gas is found dissolved in water? I will give you a hint. Animals live in water. So now can you tell me which gas is dissolved in water? Yes, the answer is oxygen. Other than oxygen, carbon dioxide also dissolves in water. Most of you like to drink the soft drinks such as Fanta, Pepsi, Thumbs Up, Coke, isn't it? All these are fizzy drinks or aerated drinks. So, what do they contain? They contain dissolved carbon dioxide. So, we can say that gases dissolve in water. All gases do not dissolve in water. For example, hydrogen, nitrogen, etc. Substances which do not dissolve or mix in water completely are called insoluble substances. Example: sand, chalk powder, metals, etc. So here we have learnt about soluble substances and insoluble substances. So what are soluble substances? Substances which dissolve in water are called soluble substances. Example: salt, sugar, vinegar, etc. What are insoluble substances? Substances which do not dissolve or mix in water completely are called insoluble substances. Example: sand, chalk powder, metals, etc. Home assignment: complete the table given below. A list of liquids are given and you are going to write whether they dissolve in water or not. The first liquid is vinegar. The answer is already provided, dissolves in water. Second one, lemon juice. Third one, coconut oil. Fourth one, honey. In case you do not know the answer, you can take these samples in your home and try to dissolve them in water and write the answer. Points to remember for this unit will be given in the next class. Thank you, children.